state funds for their personal gain. This they did in direct collaboration with vendors and other accomplices. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, our investigations have revealed that prior to the commencement of each new service year, the directors would submit to Parliament for approval a budget figure representing the number of prospective service personnel for that particular service year. Consequently, or consistently, these figures were inflated by huge numbers. During the fiscal year, the directors will write to the Minister of Finance requesting permission to utilize excess funds allocated in the budget of the National Service Authority. Once authorized, the directors will transfer the funds into NSA's project account at the Agricultural Development Bank, and under the pretext of executing projects, will divert the funds into private pockets. Another criminal scheme hatched and exploited by the directors and staff is the deployment of ghost names onto the NSA system. Once deployed, the directors will then request that both ghost names and genuine names be transmitted by the head of accounts to the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems, that is GIPS, for payment. These payments included payments to EaseWich cardholders procured for the fictitious National Service personnel. Our investigations compared monthly data of verified National Service personnel generated from the Central Management System and submitted to the NSA Accounts Office, and the data of the NSA personnel who were actually paid through the GIFT system for a period of 6 years. That is from 2018 to 2024. It was established that a total of 587,543 personnel were to be submitted to GIPS for payment of allowances. Meanwhile, data from GIPS showed that a total of 650,165 personnel were paid, indicating that 63,672 constituted ghost names. These consisted of the following categories of personnel. That is, National Service personnel who were blocked on the CMS system during the registration process. Then personnel, National Service personnel numbers that exist in the payment records but do not exist on the Central Management System. And then, of course, NSA or National Service volunteers, and then some management staff and marketplace vendors. Fellow countrymen and women, our investigators additionally established that some of the ghost names were added to the list submitted by vendors, representing the number of service personnel to whom they had supplied items or provided loan facilities, allegedly. When these vendors eventually received the payments, the directors and staff would then contact the vendors whose accounts had received payments, meet with them, and collect the additional money that had been added to the vendors' payments. For instance, we have conclusively established that after collecting these funds, some of the suspects, such as Gezi, Nyako, and Othing, handed them over to suspect Osei Asibe Entry in cash, and on some occasions deposited the cash into his bank account. Osei Asibe was the chief executive, the director general of the National Service Authority. Some directors, such as Gifty Owari Mensah, created and executed a meticulously detailed plan using NSP, National Service Personnel Allowances, as security to obtain a loan of 30,698,218 cedis, 69 pesos, from the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, at an interest rate of 23%. She achieved these results by using other people's information to register a company called Blocks of Life Consult without their knowledge or permission. Subsequently, she presented Blocks of Life Consult through in the person of Akwesi Ofori-Mintah to an official of the Agricultural Development Bank, and listened her husband, Mr. Peter Mensah, a lawyer, to act as one of the directors or representative of the said company. She told ADB that the company specialized in supplying home appliances to National Service personnel and proposed that ADB finance the company to enable it to supply these items on hire purchase basis to the service personnel, with the NSA being responsible for handling deductions and repayments. During the period, Gifty was the acting director, Gifty Oware-Mensah was the acting director of the authority. However, on the marketplace of the authority, there was no indication that Blocks of Life was a registered vendor. Within 2 service years, suspect Gifty Oware-Mensah used a total of 9,934 ghost names to misappropriate the aforementioned funds. Investigation further established that after ADB transferred the funds into the account of the company, she subsequently transferred the funds into 4 different company accounts with the names of Amiacom, Scaffold, Oche, and Aristo Logistics and Trading. It was further established that suspect Gifty is a director of Amiacom, and Scaffold Company Limited belongs to suspect Abraham Gezi. That between 3rd March 2023 and 24th May 2024, suspect Gifty transferred 22,925,518 Ghana cedis and 69 pesos to Amiacom, 1 million Ghana cedis to Scaffold, 1,572,000 Ghana cedis to Oche, and 5,200,000 Ghana cedis to Aristo Logistics and Training. We have this.
Looking to level up your life and business game? Welcome to the #1 podcast for business and self-development, Connected Minds Podcast.
Investigations, however, established that Eric Nyako, from 2017 until April 2024, and Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, April 2024 to December 2024, were responsible for preparing and transmitting NSP payroll data to GIPS for payment of allowances with the approval of the former NSA Director General, Mustafa Yusuf, who is now an MP, Gifty Oware-Abuaje, acting from February 2021 to September 2021, and Osea Sibe Enchwe, September 2021 to January 2025. Without their explicit authority, nothing was possible. In other words, all these transfers could not have taken place without the authorization of the chief executive officers and or the director general, depending on the nomenclature that was used to describe their roles. In the 2022-2023 service year, a total of 8,256,000 Ghana cedis was deposited into an eSwitch account numbered 1177042059, which is registered in the name of suspect Osei Asibe. Investigations showed that he personally received these funds. During a search at his residence, the aforementioned eSwitch card was found, and we intend to tender it in evidence during the course of the trial. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, our investigations further revealed that another suspect, Haruna Maulaya of Al-Faida Ventures, a vendor in the marketplace, received a total of 21,306,272 Ghana cedis and 43 pesos into his account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Rose Hamilton of Marine Ventures received a total of 50,750,923 Ghana cedis, 15 pesos into her account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Isaac Asamani of Option Buy Ventures received a total of 11,458,686 Ghana cedis, 90 pesos into his account from 2027 to 2024. A total payment of 167,554,000 1,398 cedis and 50 pesos was made into the account of a savings and loan company, a savings and loan entity between 2019 and 2024. Suspect Sylvia Opari of Silsona, the names of the companies are very interesting. Silsona Ventures received a total payment of 10,746,634 Ghana cedis and 41 pesos into her account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Jacob Yorsin of Inyasampo Ventures received a total payment of 19,199,638 Ghana cedis and 57 pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspects Philomena Atta and Stephen Kobina Jemfi of Brainwave Ventures received a total of 17,646,523 Ghana cedis and 80 pesos into their accounts from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Solomon Jomina of Alpha Rita Ventures received a total payment of 8,236,019 cedis and 67 pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Charles Ahiming of GH Ohetech Ventures received a total payment of 14,235,118 Ghana cedis and 14 pesos into his account from 2022 to 2024. Suspect Kweku Opare Agofa and Prince Agofa Awoku of Fralisa Ventures received a total payment of 9,011,164 and 35 Ghana cedis into their accounts from 2023 to 2024. However, none of the aforementioned vendors provided evidence to the investigative team or to myself to prove that the amounts of money they received corresponded to the items supplied or the loans supposedly made to the National Service personnel. Ladies and gentlemen of the media and my fellow countrymen and women, having concluded our investigations, we'll be filing charges against 12 suspects who worked as directors and staff of the NSA. I've already listed them, but for the abundance of doubt, let me mention them again. These are Mustafa Yusuf, a former executive director, Osea Sibe Entry, former director general, Gifty Owari Mensah, former deputy executive director, Kweku Ohinijan, former deputy executive director for operations, Abraham Bismarck Gezi, former internal auditor, Kweku Dechi Eje, an accounts officer, Idrusu Ibn Abubakar, former head of accounts, Stephen Kobina Jemfi, I've asked that he should be rearrested because we've discovered some new accounts that, contain some deposits, and so he was picked up this morning. So he is currently he's undergoing further interrogation. Koforidua, he's a Koforidua director, then Prince Agofa Ewuku, a district director, and Jacob Yorsin, management information systems administrator in the northern region. We will also file charges against the following persons who are vendors on the marketplace on the central management system of the NSA in the eastern, Greater Accra, and Ashanti regions. Isaac Osei Asamani, the owner of Stalwart Option Buy Ventures. Charles Ohomening, the owner of GH Ohek Ventures. Philomena Arthur, the owner of Brainwave Ventures. Rose Hamilton, the owner of Marine Ventures. Kweku Opare Agofa, the owner of Franlisa Ventures. Solomon Jamina, the owner of Afarita Ventures. Haruna Mawulaya, the owner of Alfaida Enterprise. Sylvia Ntriwa Opare, the owner of Silsona Ventures. And then Peter Mensah, a legal practitioner, and the husband of Gifty Owari-Mensah. We have made the decision to enter into non-prosecution agreements with some of the persons who were involved in this criminal enterprise, especially the vendors, and these have agreed to provide compelling testimonies as witnesses for the prosecution. In this regard, we have agreed not to disclose their names or their details at this press briefing as part of the NPA, that is a non-prosecution agreement. Because this is going to inure to the efficiency of the prosecutions that will be mounted. And in every prosecutorial decision making, we have the discretion to take decisions that will inure to the benefit of the Republic. And we have decided in the office, together with the investigators, that some of the marketplace vendors and some other directors and staff who came to us may be serving as prosecution witnesses. Some of them offered to be prosecution witnesses, and we rejected their offers. They came, met with my deputy, we evaluated the evidence and thought that it will be inimical to the entire prosecutorial enterprise if we accepted their offers to serve as prosecution witness. So given the numbers that we're offering to serve as witnesses, it can tell you where we are headed with this investigation. And when the trial starts, with this prosecution, when the trial starts, you'll get to know the evidence that we have meticulously gathered from February, when I took over the oral report and handed them over to NIB, to the present. Having provided this factual background, our position is clear that these persons are reasonably suspected to have committed crimes and shall be charged accordingly with the following crimes: stealing, contrary to Section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Conspiracy to steal, contrary to Sections 23.1 and 124.1 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Willfully causing financial loss to the state, contrary to Section 179A3A of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Using public office for profit, contrary to Section 179CA of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Obtaining public property by false statements, contrary to Section 5 of the Public Property Protection Decree 1977, SMCD 140. Money laundering, contrary to Section 1, subsection 2C of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, Act 1044, and conspiracy to commit money laundering, contrary to Section 3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, Act 1020. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, as part of the oral agenda, I have ordered that a comprehensive investigation of the assets of these persons be conducted. That investigation is ongoing, and we shall be pursuing the suspect to retrieve funds attributable to them and assets they have acquired using those funds. So I want to thank you very much once again for covering this press conference. God bless you.